Hi, everybody. Welcome to this. It's Monday.
It's the free one.
Free episode of TF. Well, it's Monday for us. Who knows what day it is for you?
Or what year it is.
Right in.
Do not write in.
Yeah,
Maybe you're listening to this in the post-apocalyptic wastes.
Yeah, that's right.
We're avoiding mounds and mounds of letters of people just writing in to say, it's Thursday.
A great letter to receive on a Thursday.
Yeah, the postman thinks we're like a dementia home because we just keep getting letters that say what day of the week it is.
All right.
He's very confused.
So yes. Don't write in. We don't need the piles of letters. But what we do need is to introduce our guest. It is Justin Roczniak. Roz, how's it going?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I'm having a nice time. I'm here with my favorite podcasters, except for Liam. He's not allowed here.
I know.
He knows what he did. We have an episode for you I've been wanting to do for a week, but it's kept getting pushed back by other stuff, which is, of course, we are going to be looking at all of the fun things that Elon has announced that are going to be coming out any day now.
Yes.
Checking in with all of the things that will certainly happen.
Yes. A guy who has never, ever broken any laws.
Can you
That's for
imagine Elon not delivering a project? I can't imagine
So
that.
reliable.
Yeah, he is the king of project management.
Do you think when he goes to jail for doing like Tammany Hall boss tweed vote buying that he's going to like start a company from jail where he reinvents the prison shiv?
Oh, he'll become like the guys in Goodfellas. He'll make the prison dinner each day. He'll be,
Johnny Dio was on the Huel. We couldn't get the shaker in, so he had to do it in a cup. It just tastes awful.
What's the South African equivalent of garlic and shaving it really thin with the razor blade? I don't know.
You get the biltong really thin.
Some very, very thin burr was.
No, we're going to get to all of that. We're going to get to his recent sort of political chicanery, his cool new van, his cool new robot that I'm sure is not just a guy, and all of that fun stuff. If we have time, there is a report that was done by the Resolution Foundation, which was like a sort of social good charity. It was like CEO, became a Labour MP, and has just written a report that I would describe the opposite of, well, there's your problem, which is train bad, car good, but for decarbonization.
I saw that one and was infuriated by it.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's why I picked it.
Here's a health to the resolution.
Yeah.
The Resolution Foundation brought to you in stunning 144p.
Yeah. They are putting the car in decarbonization.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's a very pixelated report that I'm currently reading.
I was so mad. Oh, I bet this says some dumb nonsense, but I can't read it. It's in binary.
That's how they get you. You just write really dumb shit, but then you make it illegible. So no one knows how dumb the shit you wrote
Yeah.
is.
Haldeman was actually a very stupid man, but no one knows this.
He couldn't even speak.
They used to have to do that by photocopying it 45 times. Now you can do it with computers. It's amazing.
Did any of you ever know about those services where, like, back when people used to be like handing stuff in to university by email, you could like corrupt a Word document and then submit a blank corrupt Word document?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we
yeah.
can start a think tank that does that. Like, I know our policy on fuel subsidy paper is supposed to be out today, but the file was corrupted. I guess I'll have to hand it in on Monday.
Listen, Henry, I've hired a man of subnormal intelligence, but he's completely inaudible. The Chinese find it intimidating.
News time. So, as you know, I love reading about stuff that Saudi Arabia does to try to make its economy normal.
Which they're going to manage any day now, along with Elon releasing all of that stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, we are going to be eating, like, one new Murabba cube full of crow when a self-driving Tesla takes us from Neom, which is not a nub, all the way to Oxagon. I've got some so I'm being handed a bulletin here. There is some more bad news about the Public Investment Fund.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Have they discovered a black hole in the budget 5 times larger than they previously thought?
Saudi Rachel Reeves is a fantastic bit. She's got the headdress on, but the shape of the hair is very evident under it.
Well, she also did just dye it ginger recently,
Did
so that
she?
does sort of
God.
that does sort of suggest at least an interest in Wahhabism.
Saudi Rachel Reeves standing in the background as her husband reads her statement about the economy.
Is Keir Starmer with an inexplicably new hennaed beard coming out?
Yeah. We're going to be doing the sword dance in all 4 nations. So
How long should the light be?
in a bid to explain the scale of the massive project he's overseeing in Riyadh, this is from the Financial Times, Jerry Inzarello points through his office window at a forest of cranes towering over a construction site. The New Yorker, a veteran of the hospitality industry, is now chief executive of a $65 billion Diriyah Gate project. I only have to note here that this is a guy who definitely was paid a visit by Edward Caban, or Edward Caban's twin brother.
Yes.
The NYPD. Yeah, 100%.
Listen to No Gods No
he's-
Mez if you want to get that reference. But yeah,
Yeah,
this is certainly someone who has been either threatened, bribed, or both by the office of Eric Adams.
Yeah, my name's
100%.
Joey Inzarello. In the ancient Italy, my family invented the rebellion. Before that, all you could do was vote. Everyone in Italy was Democrat back in the day.
Listen, voting for Cesare Borgia is harm reduction. Do you want a Medici in the fucking Duomo?
Yeah, they're electing a tribune of the plebs, and all I can do is vote for Amy Klobuchar. I don't understand. I'm fucking throwing my vote away here. Want to vote for the Grant guy or Mark Antony or someone? They would be running about 100 years apart, but let's not worry about
I
that.
love this shit of like, if you do not vote for the Borgia, then you just want the Medici to win.
Look, he's electable if you vote for her.
Yeah.
Lucrezia Borgia, electable if you vote for her.
Yeah. What are you talking about? I voted for Francisco Sforza.
Like the kind of Jill Stein of Northern Italy.
Okay, Francisco Sforza is a lot of things. A Jill Stein equivalent, I do not think he is.
Yeah, he's going to sue you for saying he's like Jill Stein.
sort of an RFK then, I guess.
Well, I'd imagine him more like a libertarian candidate just because he basically did just lead a mercenary army, find a city, and just say, this is my city now.
Oh, the Marianne Williamson of Northern Italy. We gotta get on the like Northern Italy like sort of Renaissance political maps. 270 city-states to win.
Yeah. I believe Da Vinci would be the Elon Musk equivalent.
Keeps doing this stupid fucking star job.
Mr. Never Gonna Fly. Yeah, he keeps saying that humanity has to become intercontinental.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
What the hell do you mean occupy the Indies? Where even is that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you fucking
exactly.
idiot.
He's flying around in his little screw propeller doohickey,
Bringing in Pete Buttigieg to the Borgia court.
Yeah. So I suppose that the Marianne Williamson would be like what? Sort of like Alexander II, like a pope who really believed
I
in
really
it?
love how this podcast is just turning into like what historical bits occur to us on a given day. And I know this is largely my fault, but I'm still very glad.
The guy whose family invented the rebellion. the guy who invented the calends of January in Rome.
Yeah, the family name was Insurrezione, but they changed it at Ellis Island.
Yeah,
and something about Pope Sixtus V. I don't know any of these people.
I mean, Pope Sixtus V would be a fun pope. He'd be like, get it?
He was on the O-line for the Avignon Popes.
You met my good friend Tony Rebellia Miglia.
No, it's right. Okay, all right.
Avignon Popes special teams unit.
Yeah, I'm a kicker with the Avignon Popes. I actually am. I'm just a cardinal, but they've elevated me because I'm so good at converting field goals.
Yeah, no, there's a guy out there like spreading incense before the kick. It's
That's just Warhammer 40,000. All right, I'm reading this news item.
Do your best.
Okay.
So Joey Insurrection is chief executive of this like big construction project in Riyadh.
Yeah, he's the next guy to get bonesawed if the shit doesn't go to plan.
Some of what he's saying, this is the next thing he says, which is the most please don't bonesaw me sentence I've ever read. the Crown Prince is saying we're in a new phase. And the new phase is, okay, we're in good shape, everybody, but we have to now be mindful of how we're spending just in case.
Very mindful, very demure. So like what they're saying essentially is money is now real.
Yeah.
Wow.
We recognize, and I say this brandishing a bone saw. We recognize that previously you've been pissing a vast amount of the kingdom's money up a wall to no ostensible result. We have now entered a new phase of your limbs stay attached if you do some fucking work.
Yeah, well, we were in a phase of you were pissing the kingdom's money up a wall with no tangible result, and we're not going to say
our job.
We're not going to say whose idea it was to do that. We assume the bonesawed guy. He did that.
Let's just say, my name is Joey Insurrection. It's not Joey Truncation.
Joey Dislocation. But yeah, we assume this is all the fault of the guy who left his car at the airport, parked horizontally across 3 spaces with all 4 doors open.
Alarm just still going.
The meter's running.
Yeah, just much later, it just slowly runs out of gas. So it says, so there's not anything remotely close to an austerity program happening here. I want to be clear about that.
Sure.
This is not austerity. The Saudi government is not doing austerity to its own mega projects.
Trust me.
Value engineering is fine. Sometimes it's fine to do some value engineering. All right.
Well, you want to do austerity, you're gonna have to call in Tony Passamonio. Okay, that guy. Now that guy's thrifty.
It's not austerity. We're just spending less money.
That is the next sentence. It says we have to be on our KPIs and deliverables because there's no error margin. We have to spend the kingdom's money responsibly. The guys they've hired to build bridges to the moon in Saudi Arabia are talking like Rachel Reeves now.
Yeah, what if we built a shoestring to the moon?
I think it's impressive that they managed to get people, into the country with the free money glitch, who managed to spend money faster than the free money glitch allows.
Yeah. So Public Investment Fund Insider says that the fund is coming under pressure from the government to demonstrate returns. So it's MBS standing outside with a very threatening boombox. Like just to play.
Say anything.
No, it's choose your next words carefully. Do not say anything.
Say very little.
Yeah, say as little as possible.
There's a very fine line between being a private investment fund insider and being inside a suitcase.
I'm just a crown prince standing in front of an architect, telling him to get his shit together, or he will be walking backwards out of the nearest embassy.
Yeah, that's right.
The insider goes on to say, we don't have unlimited money. Oops, this was all predicated on unlimited money.
Yeah.
But we used to. That's what's crazy for them. It's like in any other government saying we don't have unlimited money would be like an obvious truism. But for the Saudis, this is genuinely a new state of affairs that they're having to reckon with conceptually. It's hard.
After the oil price went down, everybody started getting whacked.
Yeah, exactly. They're in a kind of arrested development type situation. MBS is like Michael Bluth, that he's trying to like stop Lucille from spending all of the money that they don't have.
Michael Bluth, but with a bone saw, crucially.
Yeah, Michael Bluth Salmon. Yeah, that's what it stands for.
All right, early contender for the episode title right there.
They also don't know where the banana stand is, so that's a big problem.
Yeah.
They made it very long.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Ultimately, we are confident that Vision 2030 is on the right track, but we just need to fine-tune things a little bit, which is hardly a surprise given the phenomenal nature of this structural transformation. But then what's really funny is I was looking at this elsewhere because Bloomberg's been doing a lot of reporting on the new Murabba and the Macabre recently. I follow so closely because I'm obsessed with this stuff.
Wait, they're building something called the Macabre. That's a funny.
You might not have been here for that one.
Yeah, the macabre.
They're
the cube.
building.
Macabre means cube. And cube means a shape that's like a sort of a quadrilateral, 3 dimensions.
You either build the Macabre, or what happens to you is going to be
You either build the Macabre or you leave in one. Yeah, basically.
They're putting you in a smaller cube.
So, as a quick reminder, the Macabre is supposed to be the world's biggest structure when it's done. It's a cube rather than a line, so they've invented some more dimensions. Inside it's going to be a skyscraper that has the usual Saudi blend of fine dining, shopping, entertainment.
I like that they're
venues.
doing like 7th century BC Greece from first principles. Like we've invented a line, now we're inventing a cube.
Yeah. And inside the cube will be draped with like screens so that when you wake up in one of the many upscale hotels in the giant tower inside the cube.
Wait, will there be dining options?
There will be dining options and shopping. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then like one cultural venue.
For a second, I was worried this wasn't a true Saudi project.
The cube then is much like the Sphere in Las Vegas, except larger.
Yeah, the cube it's a similar premise to the Sphere, but it's like a live-work sphere. It's like, what if the Sphere was way bigger and then it had a skyscraper inside it that had dining, hotels, entertainment, and shopping options?
Sort of an arcology type vibe, but for like only to support the lives of like rich people in was this in Riyadh?
Yes, it's in Riyadh.
Yeah, I think the key difference, and this probably cuts to the difference between the Saudi and the American mentality, is that the Sphere exists to torment the people who live outside it, and the cube exists to torment the people who live inside it.
Yeah, so you could go to sleep on Mars and wake up under the sea, basically. Terrible for anybody who's like has any kind of sort of mental fragility at all.
I'm getting the feeling that the Saudis are getting jealous of the Egyptians. They look at the pyramids and they're like, "Oh my God, well, what do we do? Look, we can do shapes too. We have shapes."
But it's not like that's not like an unfair analysis of what's happening, because it is like, obviously the broader context of this is like Saudi trying to sort of assert its dominance in a very kind of fragile and like tumultuous region. And the thing that like, I mean, a lot of the sort of Emirati states have is the kind of a what do we actually have to offer? And I imagine that like a lot of the Saudis kind of attempts to build this stuff quickly and to not really think about how is this going to work and how are you going to build like basically a mini state from scratch, does sort of come with this idea of like trying to prove themselves to be more than just like the de facto place for the head of Islam because of where it is. That to me, like it always sort of comes across as like you want to sort of prove that you're more than just kind of a religious site with a bunch of malls attached, but you don't quite know what you want to offer. And so it just sort of feels as if like you're throwing a lot of stuff at the wall. None of it's working, getting very mad at it. There are a bunch of suitcases just lying around everywhere.
Tripping blood.
You just like, you just trip over them.
Well, to what you're saying, right? We know, I think it's worth rehashing anytime we talk about this. We know why Saudi is doing this, which is that they looked at Dubai, they see what Dubai became as a lost opportunity. But the problem is they're too stupid and gullible to understand that what people actually liked about Dubai, what it did, and like that it basically just and that it stepped in to in many ways be a kind of Switzerland of the Middle East.
To sort of like
for a lot of
transition from an oil-based economy to like whatever the various Gulf states have done. So like Bahrain, Navy base, Qatar, TV station, and the UAE and particularly Dubai, Hype House.
Hype House, and also bank that won't disclose anything.
Yeah.
And also also in every bank you can get like some amazing fillers.
I mean, also, transitioning from an energy economy to a tourism economy always works great. Look at West Virginia.
The Crown Prince wishes to know why the Essex men with the veneers and the women with the fake tits are not coming to Saudi Arabia. He demands answers. Why are the Russian influencers not here?
Why I wanted to talk about this as well, this separate item on the new Murabba, is that apparently officials from New Murabba, along with those from the line, have been discussing challenges with supply chains, costs, and finding skilled workers as they increasingly compete with one another for these things. So we are very quickly going to get a kind of Hunger Games situation of like European square glasses guys desperately trying to meet their KPIs as they begin to cannibalize one another's project resources.
Okay, so actually, Dubai is Middle East and Switzerland, and actually Saudi is Middle East and Russia. Like you've got MBS has created a system where everyone in charge of every different industry hates each other and they're in direct competition with one another.
Basically, like this is a really good analogy, not least because if you ever look at any of the like diplomatic photo calls MBS does, he also does the Putin thing of like sitting in a room that is like 2.5 times larger than it needs to be. So he's like sitting sort of like 50 feet away from you for no reason at like a gold desk. So yeah, Putin vibes.
Well, it's a cube.
Yeah, true.
Chief executive of New Murabba, not Jerry Inzarello, but Michael Dyke, said.
The inventor of the little stream.
Yeah.
Do not confuse me with Michael Lesbian.
Shout out to
Very
Michael
different guy.
Lesbians for inventing lesbians. Thank you, Mike.
Great guy, didn't I?
Oh, yeah.
It was,
Down to earth, very
Mike
funny.
Dyke.
it was just the BTQ plus community before that.
And before that, it was B&Q.
Yeah. Before that, I think it was Woolworth.
Yeah.
Mikey Pickham mix. We don't talk about him.
Yeah.
He got in a lot of trouble. Some guys, they filmed him in a McDonald's car
Whenever
park.
OAPs are like, oh, there was none of this like LGBTQ shit when I was a lad. They're right, because it was Woolworths back then, and you could get pick and mix from it. But now, due to a complex series of mergers and acquisitions,
It's every
queer person. Yeah.
queer person. Michael Dyke said, it's masquerading as a building today, the new Murabba and the Muqab, but it's actually so much more. It's a capital city the size of Riyadh deserves to have a global central icon as other capital cities do. And to which him I say,
is Riyadh. It's like it's pretty small, right? Like,
well, they're trying to turn it into like an Alpha Plus world city by just building the biggest buildings they can think of there. And if you want to, I think that actually Britain, we're cash strapped, right? I heard Rachel read.
true. Yeah.
We should sell them our Anish Kapoor Tower, like the London.
Oh, yeah, the one that looks like a helter-skelter.
The one that is a helter-skelter, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, they put a helter-skelter
Like
on it.
dual
It costs
purpose.
£30 to go down it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
We should sell
what could
that.
be more London than a helter-skelter? It costs £30 to go down.
But it was designed by Anish Kapoor and it looks
Yeah.
terrible.
awesome.
So this is, I think this is really fun. The projects are now competing with each other. The girlies are fighting.
Fun fact about that tower is it's actually my WhatsApp background. I took a picture in which it was the background in the picture I was taking, and then I accidentally made it my WhatsApp background, and I've never figured out how to change it. It's been my background of my WhatsApp chats for years, but it's like you don't really notice it because it's in the background of every message you ever send, so it just starts to blend into nothingness for you.
Yeah. You have the power that everyone who lives near Stratford wants, which is the ability to stop noticing the dumb tower.
Yeah.
The dream of every architect is that your building does become the your background of your Instagram. So
So just know if you're WhatsApping me, your texts are going down the Anish Kapoor Helter Skelter, but for free.
I want to move on because we were going to spend 10 minutes on that. Before we go into Elon stuff, there has been an orb update.
Okay.
there's an
Everybody
orb.
put down what you've been doing. If you're listening to this and you're doing something, you're at the gym, you're doing the dishes,
listening to this,
stop.
I'm on this and I'm doing something. I have to close like 5 tabs of Saudi royal palaces.
This is an episode of shapes. It's all
Yes,
shapes.
no, it's very much very platonic solids, I believe is the word.
Look,
Well, you don't fuck them.
we have dealt with Cube. Cube is done. Now is the time of orb. There has been an orb update.
Pythagoras, 380 BC.
That's triangles.
I'm reading right now because you're all being, silly. You're not taking this seriously. I'm reading from an article about the orb.
Okay.
The orb has a new look. Okay. So number one, first of all,
you
okay.
remember the old and busted shit tier orb for peasants that you used to have, but you're still fucking with the like a Gen 1 orb.
Yeah, it wasn't even round.
Orb cell.
Yeah, that's the version of an orb where it's like a green text. It's like, oh, it's not even iMessage. It's using an old orb. This is not the sphere. That's the sphere. The orb is different. This is the Worldcoin orb that verifies your humanity.
Yeah, this was the orb that would like, it would be like yay big, like a basketball, and it would like float around and it would like scan your face and be like, what's up? And also steal all of your data.
Yeah.
okay,
So
good.
the orb has a new look.
And they were like evangelizing this in like various cities where they were like you could be like an orb ambassador and you could order like a shitload of orbs and the orbs would just like be distributed around your city.
Orb ambassador when Orbsbudsman is right there.
Maybe they wanted a gender neutral title.
Also,
I don't know.
ambassador. Come on. The orb.
Is that got an apostrophe in it? Like,
The orb has a new
ambassador?
look. The orb has a new look.
Riley, are you okay?
The
Are you
tune of
okay?
Blake has a new face.
The orb has a new look. It's running on a new chipset. It provides 5 times the AI performance for
Okay.
faster identity verification.
All right.
So you would
Okay.
have one orb that would functionally be as good as 5 previous orbs.
We've made the orb 5
You could have
times
been
as good.
orbited by like 5 orbs, like the fucking Overwatch
You got
Buddhist
all
robot.
5 Dragon Balls in one Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Also, the new orb. So you think you're all stupid for making fun of the orb now, right? The new orb is easier to mass produce. It has fewer parts, and it operates operates 3 times faster with 5 times. So it's as good as 3 orbs with 5 times the performance. There must be another bottleneck in it somewhere.
Yeah. Can you zorb in the orb?
And people will soon be able to verify their humanity using the orb at coffee shops.
I'm always doing that.
Was that end of list? At coffee shops?
Yeah.
That's the only place you'll be able to verify your identity.
To be fair, people do love to go to those.
Yeah.
They
So
love
are
to
you
go to
old
those.
enough to buy this coffee?
I mean, to be fair, this fits perfectly with Britain in like 2024. The only place where you can like do any governmental business is a Black Sheep coffee.
Usually I just tell the barista my name and he makes the coffee. I don't know why I need to be verified.
Yeah, but what the barista is terrible at judging whether or not you're a human, Blade Runner style. You know what isn't terrible at that is an orb.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
They've also partnered with the SoftBank-backed Deliveroo for South America, Rappi. So also, when you order like a takeaway in South America, you can also get it with a side of orb.
Great.
So you might be, if you're, especially if you're a new listener, you're feeling very alienated by this discussion. Maybe we should remind you what the orb is.
Yeah, it's the thing. It's the basketball-shaped thing that looks in your eyes and scans you.
Donald Trump was there in Saudi Arabia. You know,
Different orb.
yeah.
Different orb.
It's a different orb. Okay.
It's a different orb. Cut his mic. It's a different orb. Just to remind everybody, Sam Altman and another business partner of his, when they decided, okay, well, artificial general intelligence is obviously coming any minute now. Going to take away every role that a human could have. We're going to need to keep people supported with like some kind of UBI or whatever so that they don't starve to death. However, because AGI is going to be so much more intelligent than us and any system that we could possibly put together, we can't just have it done by social security numbers, because how would you know who's a human and who's an AI?
It's really, really funny to like hype your own product by being like, it will outwit me instantly. Yeah. Like, I'm making something that is gonna make me look as dumb as a toddler.
I love that these guys have the same belief structure as like Jehovah's Witnesses. They're like, the end of the world is going to happen on Tuesday, and then it's Wednesday, and they're like, okay, we were wrong this time. The end of the world is actually going to be Monday morning.
So look in this orb.
Yeah. So that's why
all
we need
these
the
orb
orb.
guys. They don't want me to celebrate my birthday for some reason.
You're all going to be raptured into like RuneScape or whatever the fuck it is that they
I would genuinely respect the Jehovah's Witnesses a great deal more of that with their belief system.
Yeah.
That's like if you smush them together with the AI guy.
You die, you get plugged into God's RuneScape server.
Yeah, that's right.
God's griefing me again.
Yeah, Book of Job.
God's been griefing us all for a while. Let's get real.
Why is God a big skeleton?
Basically, they said, okay, well, what we're going to have is we're going to have a blockchain, but to get a wallet on the Worldcoin blockchain, it's just called World now because blockchains aren't cool. You're going to need to verify your identity at an orb, which is not like proof of identity so much as proof of humanness attached to a crypto wallet.
Okay,
basically.
yeah, for sure. So like if you want to like do anything in this brave new world, you are going to have ordered like from like you have to gotten a takeaway in South America.
Well, but that's because regulators in the global north keep saying to Sam Altman, please stop putting your orbs around.
Yeah, because I remember they were going to try this in like Barcelona or some shit like that, and then it just never
Told to
panned
fuck
out.
off.
Yeah, I've got a better idea. What if to get your social security UBI payment or whatever, you just had to click which squares had traffic lights in them? That seems to work pretty well.
But it's like an endless thing. So it's like you click all the traffic lights, and you then get more. It's like click all the hills, and there are no hills.
Well,
until you say
that's
cancel.
hell for Jehovah's Witnesses,
Yeah.
right? It's like if you lived a good life, you get to go to the RuneScape server, but if you lived a bad life, you have a purgatorial existence of doing captures until you get to play RuneScape. Yeah, you've been captured.
And you can't even get into the capture dimension without selecting all the squares that contain motorcycles. And there's always a bit overlapping like the corner of one square, but it's like 3 pixels, and you're like, do I click that?
Well, or you select it, and then it's like, oh no, those are mopeds, and they're different things. You're like, oh, that's questionable. That's questionable.
Oh, I just want my UBI payment. God damn it, I hate AI.
Bogs down in God's semantics.
So basically, World has it. They're called World now. Their new plan is they're in step 3 of their plan. Of course, step 1 of any good plan is develop the orb.
Yeah,
Right.
sure.
Step 2 is build a distributed ownership network using blockchain, obviously connected with the orb.
Step 3 is the one that's all question marks.
Step 4 is the last step is redistributing the benefits of artificial intelligence via the World blockchain to verified humans. But the third step is scale. We need more orbs. This is a quote from Chief
Or
Device
morbs.
Officer Rich Healy. Rich Healy said, we need more orbs.
Rich Healy or Morbius, if you will.
Rich Healy said, We need more orbs, a lot more orbs, thousands more orbs than we have today.
You might say that it's Morbin time.
Yeah.
These people went through an airport security line and were like, "This is great. We should do this for everything."
What if this is an
Morbidly
orb?
morbies. We need more morbs.
Everything should be orbs. We need to do like a paperclip problem AI, but for making more fucking orbs. In order to do that, the world team needs to scan more eyeballs across the globe. And so they have their
Leave
next
my
generation
fucking
orb.
eyeballs alone, you freaks.
The startup promised everyone, including the reporters who were at TechCrunch who were there, attending the live event would receive an orb to take home, though it's not immediately clear how individuals would put it to use. When pressed for a more...
just floating around your house.
Exactly.
Yeah, what, like Guilty Spark from Halo?
I've stuck a couple of googly eyes on it. It's just following me around.
And now it thinks it's human. It's getting very confused.
But when asked if there were any more, let's say, immediate applications, the Tools for Humanity founder unveiled a program called Deepface, an attempt to combat online deepfakes.
Okay, sure. So you say this footage of me is not. It's like a deep fake because my orb has been following me around for like a year and knows I would never say any of those words.
Yeah, my orb
is orbiting your head just constantly.
Yeah. Some of my best friends are orbs.
So basically, it would be like, the idea behind, and again, this is something that has not been
An
thought
ally
through.
to the orb community.
This is something that has not been thought through at all, clearly, because it'd be like, oh yeah, well, if you're on a Zoom call, you can verify that it's you because your Zoom call will be connected to your Worldcoin proof of personhood that you will have already established.
Oh, so you're like certified orb approved to like transact or whatever.
But then wouldn't an artificial general intelligence that's able to like crack any system of social security to redirect UBI payments toward itself, wouldn't it just be able to figure out password 123 or admin or whatever?
It's blindside again,
Yeah.
right? But like in the sense of like I'm going to invent something that is like 40 steps ahead of me at all times. However, I'm pretty certain I can outthink it.
Yeah, essentially.
This is why we need to, we don't know the answers to these questions. That's why we need to build 500 nuclear power plants right now to redline graphics cards for months. And then we'll know the answer.
Everyone else, you stick with oil and gas for now, and then we will come get you and hook you up to the giant nuclear fleet that we're building, essentially to dig and fill in holes.
How have I ended up in the future where I'm against building 500 nuclear power stations right now? It's like they're so close to the thing we do need to do, but they're just doing it wrong. It's like what monkey's paw have I wished upon? Where they're like, oh no, we could actually just like do the thing, but we're only gonna do it to run the machine that makes the fake women with the huge wet tits.
Yeah,
No, we're in an economy where the most valuable thing to do is to directly generate entropy.
It is entropic in the broader sense too. It's perfect. Like it's the fucking Thomas Pynchon short story. Hey, but at least now you can say those aren't my big wet tits because those are not verified by my orb. My orb knows what my big wet tits look like.
You may find yourself in a beautiful house with big wet tits. And you might say to
You may
yourself,
find yourself with a beautiful orb.
Yeah, I love my orb.
These are not my big wet tits.
This is not my orb.
That's why you had to have the suit so big.
It's carrying all those orbs. All right. I want to move on. This was supposed to be 15 minutes of like opening riffs and flim-flams, and here we are 2/3 of the way through the episode. Only now getting to the Elon Musk.
Oh, that guy. Oh, yeah. I remember this. Yeah.
So this is a little context. In 2016, Elon Musk said during a press call that a Tesla vehicle would autonomously drive from Los Angeles to New York by 2017. In 2019, it was said that Tesla would have 1 million robotaxis on the road by 2020. And then by 2022, he said 2023.
Any day now.
it's just Jehovah's
Any
Witnesses
second.
again. Except he actually changes religion every time, but adopts the same principle.
Yeah. So Elon Musk is now saying full self-driving Teslas are closer than ever, despite the fact that in the race for autonomous vehicles actually working, I would say he's a distant fifth in that particular, again,
At
working
this point, yeah.
very sort of big big caveats and air quotes around that. The people closest to doing something that seems vaguely like driving is Waymo. Tesla, not even fucking close, not nearby, not in the same ballpark, not in the same league.
Now, in fairness, they have something called full self-driving. It's just somehow that's not actually full self-driving legally.
It's neither full nor self nor driving. It's like modern standard Arabic.
Or the Holy Roman Empire.
Yeah. Musk, however, was not to be deterred. He's to announce the full self-driving and the new cars Tesla would release to support a full self-driving world, had an event called We Robot, creating a, quote, futuristic world at a studio lot in Burbank with photos including a map that showed 4 separate areas that had been assigned titles like Tesla Theater, New York, Metropolis, and Westworld.
Why are New York and Metropolis separate?
Maybe Metropolis is it refers to the Fritz Lang movie, but what does New York refer to then?
No,
if the other
I'm
two are
thinking
movies.
Is there like, one is New York and then the other one is like themed about around like Baltimore or something? I don't know.
The real Metropolis.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned about a guy building robots having a Westworld themed. Has he seen Westworld?
He just watches stuff on TV and then says, I'm going to do that.
Yes.
Westworld, that's cool. I wish I had a Westworld. And then there you go.
Yeah. And much like the show Westworld, there's a lot of like guys involved.
So the handout said
That's
that
true.
guests could visit the different areas for things like Texas barbecue, arcade games, and a block party complete with street performers. Again, I went to the Morgan Stanley.
So fucking Reddit, man.
I went to read the Morgan Stanley analyst briefing note that was released several days after the Tesla event, and the analyst
the Morgan Stanley vibes report.
yeah, Morgan Stanley.
I would hate to have Morgan Stanley issue a report on the vibes of my afters, you know?
4 people just sitting around a kitchen table until 6 a.m.
Levels of ketamine were much lower than forecast.
considered to be sad.
Troubling implications.
So Morgan Stanley called the event, quote, disappointing, citing its lack of details.
Oh, so much the same as the afters one.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah. Receptacles for drinks were mixed at best. The amount of mixers on offer was lower than was forecast.
It's only Texas barbecue. They really wanted some Carolina barbecue,
Morgan Stanley analysts making themselves a gin and tonic in one of my like coffee mugs.
Yeah.
And just being like, this is going in the fucking report.
Drinking a gin and tonic out of the little like washing machine liquid ball that you put in the drum.
And like the write-up of the report on Bloomberg, it would have said something like, in the Uber, and then in parentheses, the ticker symbol for Uber up like 3%, and parentheses, it was noted that there would be several, that there was a significant amount of liquor as well as mixers. However, when analysts attended the afters, it was identified that only expired orange juice was on offer, and it actually belonged to an flatmate associate of our friend.
I love when I plant these little landmines that I know are going to be in your head specifically for the next 2 weeks, Riley, of like the Morgan Stanley vibes report.
You have done so again. This is going to be a Mesoamerican ball game for me.
It's a Mesoamerican ball game of 2 halves, you know.
That's right. They had us in the first half of the
American fantasy ball game.
The Morgan Stanley Vibes report sounds like an Instagram meme page.
Yeah.
It definitely has that kind of.
yeah.
It definitely has that sort of thing. Like it's very much
Junior
like
analyst starter pack. It's like a picture of like Gucci loafers and like a
a junior analyst in New York, maybe, but not here.
Getting incredibly sued for selling a Morgan Stanley Vibes Report team t-shirt.
Oh, God. Now we have to make the Morgan Stanley Vibes Report t-shirt.
I actually invested in an index fund that tracks the Morgan Stanley Vibes report.
I actually work at a small hedge fund. We trade on European vibes and vibe derivatives.
it might be the only thing that brings back the house party, right? Because the house party is dead, and like maybe if there was a sort of like objective report, then maybe.
I mean, isn't Morgan Stanley already pissed at Elon because he has cost them all of their bonuses in the New York office?
I believe so. We only know that for sure about Barclays, but we have to assume that Morgan Stanley is structured a similar way. So yes, anytime Elon does something dumb regarding Twitter, it costs a lot of M&A guys a lot of money.
So all of these guys are sitting there thinking, well, the Texas barbecue is pretty good. On the other hand, he did cost me $200,000 a quarter.
Yeah, way more than that. They're flying first rather than private now because of this guy.
We gotta fix the vibes, folks. hundreds of thousands of people's retirements are depending on this.
So to say nothing of those invested in the ARK ETF. But Dan O'Dowd, a vocal CEO of Green Hill Software, another sort of trading firm, and a vocal skeptic of Tesla's autonomous driving efforts, said that the demonstration looked like, quote, a 1950s Disneyland ride rather than the future of transportation. Quote, Elon Musk is trying to compete in the Tour de France on a tricycle, he said in an email note. So, Roz, let's talk about this. The two new cars released, we'll get to Optimus in a moment, were the Cybercab and the Cybervan. And I don't think you're a big fan of either of them, right?
So I only saw the Robovan, I think Elon specifically called it a Robovan.
Parking my Robovan in Hoboken.
Yes, exactly. So the Robovan looks like every single other autonomous, transit vehicle that anyone's built in the past decade or so. None of them have worked. They all are pretty low speed. It's like all these people were like, they took a ride on the air train at Newark Airport, which is uncommonly small for an airport people mover. And they were like, damn, what if we could have this everywhere all the time for everyone, but I mean, it has this sort of weird, retro styling. It has it's clearly an unserious vehicle because, there's skirts over the wheels. That's always terrible for maintenance.
One speed bump, and it is just gone.
Snow, any amount of snow. I don't think Elon knows what snow is based on the rest of his cars.
I'm reminded of that one electric vehicle company we talked about where they had motors on the individual wheels closer to the wheels than the axle.
Wasn't it?
It was another one that set up and then failed. It's gone now.
Okay.
Yeah,
sure.
no, Rivian was that guy on the X Factor.
It was Lordstown Motors. Lordstown Motors did that, where again, if it goes over a bump, then it would stop working. But yes, please carry on.
Yeah, I mean, as with most of these things, it's very low capacity per vehicle. There were renders of the thing being used as a school bus, which putting,
for people who hate their children.
Yeah, putting 8 unsupervised kids into a locked box for 30 minutes. Nothing bad's going to happen there.
Creating a sort of micro Hunger Games on the way to school.
Yeah, it's sort of a Lord of the Flies situation at that point.
Van of the Flies.
I was raised in the crucible environment of the Robovan. It taught me my strength.
So the other thing about the Robovan is, as you say, it is a big box with no option to control it from inside. It has a white interior and couches that face one another. It looks like something Adam Driver would have in Megalopolis that he would drive to the club.
The thing is, right, the kind of aesthetic of it is better than the Cybertruck. That's not difficult, but it still is.
This is true.
And you have to work pretty hard to get me to dislike a van. And yet he still manages, right?
Yes.
Even the Elon Musk of 10 years ago, right? Even the Elon Musk of 5 years ago when he was just annoying, I would be like, well, whatever, file this with the Teslas in the sense of they'll probably kill you and they're very poorly made, but it's aesthetically, it's not offensive to me, right? Whereas now he's incinerated so much goodwill that I'm just oh, this is the dipshit van for cunts. Yeah, sure. I see one of these and I'm keying it.
You touch it
reflexively. I'm not even automatism kicks in.
Yeah, it's like you can't control it. Yeah, you get alien hand syndrome.
Going back to Blindsight, it just tickles your parietal lobe in such a way that your hand is already up with your key out before.
Even the nonces are ignoring the kids who get out of the Robovan. They're like, yo, that is sad.
In that way, it's ultimately a great child protection. You make an unnonceable child by making them so too cringe.
Too dusted.
Oh, no, sorry, I only molest kids with swag.
Oh my God. Okay, so that's the Robovan. But he's also announced the Cybercab. He said that Cybercabs would be available to buy and cost less than $30,000 each. They're two-seater cars that would work as a robotaxi service, and that would be they have full self-driving using cameras, and that customers could call the robotaxi once and use it for as long as needed, whether a short trip or a full day.
It's kind of the thing that he was ostensibly intending to do with Tesla early, to make luxury EVs and then wait wait for things to like sort of reduce in cost to the point that he can make the like Model T that anyone could like buy or like, you know, hire.
Or you're going to be able
indeed.
to, you're going to buy your Tesla and like, because it can do full self-driving, obviously, when you're not using it, because cars are parked 93% of the time, send it off to do taxi work, and then, you know, it'll come back to your office when you're done at work, and the back seat will be covered in vomit and everything will be broken.
I was going to say, yeah, across town, a guy is throwing up in the back of my car.
Yeah, but you'll have made like $35.
Good luck finding some bits that I haven't thrown up on.
And the other funny thing is, after this event, the company that produced Blade Runner 2049 has sued Tesla Motors for the car company's use of AI-generated images that were used in the presentation of its new Cybercab, and that was meant to place it in the Denis Villeneuve sci-fi film. Alcon, the production company, does not want the film associated with Tesla because Musk is basically personally so weird and off-putting. It says, quote, any prudent brand considering any Tesla partnership has to take Musk's massively amplified, highly politicized, capricious, and arbitrary behavior, which sometimes veers into hate speech, into account. If, as here, a company or its principals do not actually agree with Musk's extreme political and social views, then a potential brand affiliation with Tesla is considered to be fraud.
It's very funny because like the Blade Runner 2049 film shows up a lot in like incel adjacent films that you'll like. So I think it's very funny just to
But
be
the
like,
production company is woke.
yeah,
it turns out.
yeah. I haven't seen the film, but I guess the Ryan Gosling character with like the big giant hologram girlfriend,
Yeah, I mean,
is
I
more,
think if
is
you
more
are-
normal than Elon Musk.
Yeah, well, if you are an incel, you just kind of like spin the big wheel of which Ryan Gosling performance you're going to make your entire personality.
Yeah.
Nobody really does Only God Forgives, which is a real shame, I think. You know, I think we see a more swaggy incel. You know?
Incel who's really into the Notebook. Like, when will I get my old demented trad wife? Like, when will a woman gradually remember me over the course of reading her a book for 2 hours? Women don't want to remember nice guys. They only want to remember jobs.
You're in her DMs. I'm in her memory.
That's right. I'm in her old folks' day room.
Tesla is still, of course, about full autonomy and won't work as a company unless it's achieved, Musk says.
Uh-huh. Do you remember that thing from the biography of him about how he plays poker, right? Uh-huh. How Elon Musk plays poker by doubling and tripling and quintupling down on every hand, losing all of his money, and then just like going back for more money until everyone else is bored of playing with him or he wins.
Oh my god! So
right?
he's he's like a suicide guy. I used to do this in like Monopoly.
Yeah.
I used to do this in Monopoly. Like a version of this in Monopoly.
You were the Monopoly Elon Musk.
Mr. Bond, have you ever played Monopoly?
Yeah, I just like burn through my cash really easily, like making these very dumb calls, and then I would like cause a temper tantrum until someone like gave me some money so I could do it all over again.
Blood's trickling from my eye.
Spiritually, I understand where he's coming from.
Yeah. So he's done this again, but with full self-driving, where it's like, I've bet the entire company on this, and the fact that I've lost every time.
But Mr. Bond, you forget yourself. I own the waterworks.
But of course, what's amusing about the way he plays poker is that's a roulette strategy. That only works as a roulette strategy. But it's work before we get into the robot, the quote unquote robot. Turns out just a guy being piloted by someone else.
Oh yeah, this was so funny because it looks like a guy in a suit. Last time it was a guy in a suit. Now it's just a kind of like remotely operated type guy. And the big showpiece thing was like it pouring a drink, right, and acting as a bartender. And all of Elon's various like orbiters went.
His remaining
let's see.
orbiters.
He's
lost so many of them.
Yeah.
They're like the fucking old guard at the Battle of Austerlitz at this point. Like 2/3 of them are dead.
He needs orbiters.
but his surviving orbiters are holding the ground of, let's see a woke bartender with pronouns like slowly pour a beer into a glass that had already been filled with ice.
His only remaining orbiters are people who are people who are saying like, this bartender is not going to make me give its pronouns. If I get it to do my house cleaning as a South African, it won't vote ANC. Stuff like this.
The insanely racist South African guy. Yeah.
What? Come on. What? That doesn't make any sense.
I'm stuck on this concept of woke bartenders. Even the bartenders with good politics aren't woke. They're bartenders.
It's like because they saw like one TikTok of like a pink-haired they/them pouring drinks, and they're like, I'm too scared to go to a bar now because there might be like a sort of person of Woolworths there.
I keep putting like pick and mix in my pint.
I mean, to be fair, bars do be doing shit like that now.
According to Musk's statements of April of this year, the robot is expected to begin performing useful tasks, most likely autonomously, though he didn't say, by the end of this year and could be available to the external market as early as 2025.
This is also my Morgan Stanley vibes report. I am also expected to begin performing useful tasks around the end of this year.
Musk promised that the robots could, quote, do everything, including walking the dog, babysitting, and mowing the lawn. But again, if we know that, let's just imagine.
Me sort of procrastinating on taking the garbage out. Well, you know, if you look at the report, I'm projected to start doing tasks like this by the end of the year.
So there are two sort of versions of this, right? One is that they remain teleoperated, which means that all
you have a Tesla employee like 5 feet away with a remote control, sort of like doing everything that you want, being like beep boop. No, I will never vote ANC.
The robot is walking your dog, and then the signal drops, and it just stops, just holding the dog, just like in the middle of the road somewhere.
This weird guy in a black Zentai looking robot being like in sort of like thick Afrikaans accent. I actually find the Democratic Alliance very compelling.
Or it's in the middle of making a Long Island iced tea, and the bottle is, you know, just inverted, and it's like, ooh, this is going to be a pretty strong one, huh?
But also, right, there are two situations you can imagine, right? And let's assume that like it can be teleoperated from anywhere, which is, of course, the dream of Elon and sort of his political tendency is we want people to do cheap labor for our dog walking, but we never want to see a non-white person, which is basically a teleoperated humanoid robot is like, oh, great, perfect. The person who does my dog walking can be a dog walker who walks dogs from home and lives in like Costa Rica.
Well, he's trying to recreate the South Africa of the 90s, you know, in a like tech way.
This is the dystopian future of this, of like someone in a basement in like Kenya or fucking Uruguay or something with like 9 monitors, each of which is a different person's dog walk, is like that. Yeah. That's what they're going for here, I guess.
Yeah. So that's one version of it being teleoperated. Or if it's not teleoperated and it is based on the same AI that is driving the Teslas, or not driving the Teslas, as the case may be, that essentially it is akin to a large language model where it knows what its visual inputs are and what its distances from these things are, and therefore contextually what actions it should take. But we know, of course, that all that does is create an averaging machine.
Yeah, cheerily walking your dog into traffic.
Yeah, exactly.
They made a short film about this. It was called Wallace and Gromit, The Wrong Trousers.
Yeah, these things are going to kill more dogs than the Arizona Police Department.
Yeah.
Why does my Optimus robot have an ATF vest on?
Why has it got a tank?
How come my Optimus robot has the same badge that Nixon gave Elvis to fight the drug wars?
They've built a robot to kill dogs, Henry. It's better than we could have imagined.
Inaudible.
Yeah.
Can we get this guy over in Cambodia?
Sounds of woofing heard on the tape. Send me in, Nixon. I want to kill the dogs.
We don't need you anymore, Elvis. We've got a robot piloted by someone in Venezuela. We got a robot. It's piloted by Batista's old bodyguard. Pinochet's driving this robot.
I think that this will be the biggest product of any kind ever, said Musk. Everyone's going to want their Optimus buddy.
You know who what Musk's increasingly reminding me of anytime he does this hype thing is, do any of you remember the game developer Peter Molyneux?
Oh, is that the Fable guy?
Yeah, the Fable guy, the black and white guy, the guy who I believe he's now doing something with NFTs because of course he is. Like the guy who used to promise things like, oh, by the way, this video game that we're making in 2005 will fully be able to like be your best friend.
Oh, Project Milo.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, look, and if you're listening to this...
There was also a Peter Molyneux show. I think that was him too, for fuck's sake.
Project Milo has been a success. You've never met me, and yet I am your best friend.
Yeah. We've created one so far. We can make more.
I'm being piloted by a guy in Saudi Arabia or something.
Wait, you're being piloted by a guy in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, God, he's deep cover.
I'm Milo bin Salman.
I mean, in fairness, I have never seen you vote ANC. So
is it like a sort of like Gerard, Butler and Gamer situation where like a teenager in Saudi Arabia is piloting you?
Maybe.
That's such a specific film to reference.
It's so rarely the case that something is a Gerard Butler in gamer situation.
Yeah.
It's a certified Gerard Butler in gamer moment.
Yeah, it's a
Guy who's only seen gamer with Gerard Butler.
I feel like no, I have seen some other Gerard, but at one
I've
point,
seen other movies, but they all have Gerard Butler in them. This is more of a Gerard Butler in P.S. I Love You situation.
I have seen that one. Yeah,
Oh, this is a classic.
If incels picked one Gerard Butler role to mold their entire personality around, that would be a very different and I think much better world.
Here,
Yeah.
I'm playing for keeps. This is just a classic Gerard Butler.
This is
playing
a
for
real
keeps
Gerard
situation.
Butler in plane situation. In that I'm not good at flying a
Look,
plane.
I know you're all, but it's like the most relevant and most likely.
General, sir, there is a Gerard Butler in White House Down situation developing.
And I am Gerard Butler and you are the president in White House Down type situation. No, but he was in Olympus Has Fallen. White House Down is the one with Jamie Foxx. If Gerard Butler is in White House Down, stuff's going very wrong. Yeah, Channing Tatum and Jamie Foxx. It's a Channing Tatum in White House Down.
Yeah.
So a Channing Tatum and Magic Mike situation is developing in this room because I've been hired and I hear there's a very special boy in here who's been very naughty.
You've been a very naughty president, sir.
Pulling off the Secret Service uniform and it's all Velcro.
This is shit Marilyn Monroe was trying to do. Yeah, Marilyn Monroe approaching JFK, bursting out of the cake and being like this. This is fucking Robert Carlyle in the full Monty moment.
Secret Service guy swinging his tie around his head. And also we're under attack by North Korea.
Yeah, I didn't believe it either.
Might as well see some hard cock one last time.
It's any of those old adventure games. That's one of the things. I can't use these two objects together. I can't look at this hard cock right now. It's not time for me to do this.
I was so surprised that the North Koreans were attacking as well, but apparently it is a Chris Hemsworth in Red Dawn 2012 situation.
Maybe, perhaps, yeah. I also do think it's quite funny to reference like good actors or like goodish actors by the worst film that they've been in, and I do try to do that.
Sorry,
And also
genuinely.
Gerard Butler.
And also Gerard Butler.
Are we saying Gerard Butler's a good actor?
Look, I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying he's good. I'm just saying he was in one film. It was called Gamer. This is very apt to this particular moment. It's not something that should have lasted this long in terms of like a laughing session, but I'm going to let you do it.
So you're saying this is a Nicolas Cage and adaptation situation?
Yeah, again, another.
That's a good movie. That's a Nicolas
That's a good
Cage
film.
and
I don't
Con
know if
Air
you've seen-
situation.
I have a Gerard Butler story. Oh yeah, it's a Gerard Butler in the bar of my venue at the Edinburgh Fringe type situation. And he began. I didn't actually speak to him, but he was like in the bar speaking to various people. And it turned out that he'd had a photo with the bouncer outside, who's a guy I'd been chatting to a bunch during the Fringe, who was like from like rural, like tribal Pakistan and had moved to the UK. And he had already sent. He was like, "Oh, I've put the picture of me and Gerard Butler up as my WhatsApp story. All of my friends in Pakistan are going crazy for it." And then it's like, we have a window into like a different culture, and like Gerard Butler is genuinely the biggest celebrity.
Yeah,
any
they've
of
all
his friends
seen the
could
film
think of.
Gamer, and they all understand the point that I've made.
They love the movie Gamer.
So, like, for the 2% of Trash Feature listeners in like Pakistan, like, I appreciate you listening, because clearly, like, my co-hosts don't.
Oh my god.
You live in the ethnically Pashtun part of Pakistan, and you love the movie Gamer.
Yeah.
This could be the podcast for you.
Yeah, they're gonna.
One of those really long, hyper-targeted T-shirts.
This is a Gerard Butler in the movie Gamer title situation. I am being piloted by a Pashtun boy in Western Pakistan.
The problem is,
So don't fuck with me.
the funniest version of that shirt is like, I am being piloted by a member of the Haqqani network, and I vote, but it would get you arrested immediately.
Talk about being logged in.
But at least you're not voting for the ANC.
I'm on the wide area Haqqani network.
What were we talking
It's
about?
a great
Morgan
download
Freeman
speed.
in Invictus moment.
What were we talking about? Elon Musk or
I
something?
don't fucking remember.
This reminds me of when Gerard Butler was being piloted by that boy in the movie Gamer. I would like to tell you that Andy Dufresne was also being piloted by a boy in Western Pakistan, but sadly, that would be a lie.
Andy Dufresne was in a Tim Robbins in Shawshank Redemption
Me,
situation.
The only man in Shawshank being piloted by a boy in Western Pakistan.
Elon Musk did a bunch of other stuff. Do we want to talk about that?
Elon Musk is going to turn us all into ratatouilles, unfortunately.
That's right.
Riley, when we did the planning for this one, you're like, oh, it'd be good to do this one because it's all stuff that we've been trying to talk about for weeks. And somehow we've just never gotten to it, you know? But I'm really excited to like tick this one off the list, you know? Really inbox zero this shit.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's a little bit of a Barry McGovern and Waiting for Godot situation.
It's a little bit of a Ryan O'Neal and Barry Lyndon situation.
It's Gerard Butler gamer mode. I love that. That was really fun. I enjoyed that a lot.
It wasn't even supposed to be. It was supposed to be a very general observation.
Yeah, sure. In many ways, like Gerard Butler in gamer is kind of the human condition, right?
So I do want to say like two more things about Elon Musk.
Oh, that's what we were talking about, right?
Yeah. Number one, moving on from the robots, moving on from Gerard Butler and gamer.
For now.
The Gerard Butlers who are all in gamer, who are running around the Elon Musk We Robot event.
We're the Gerard Butlers in gamer you could not reference.
Is that his political shenanigans, also, which we alluded to at the top of the show, his like basically doing what appears to be like running numbers for getting people registered to vote is so funny that he's like,
not to be like Elon Musk will surely be arrested for this one because we predicted falsely his demise in many occasions.
Like his bone sawing, for example, it didn't happen.
Yeah, for sure. Tim Apple did not like take him out behind the woodshed, which is, fucking get it together, man. But like Elon Musk is like committing electoral crimes.
Or appears to be. He appears to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Or how about this? It is being argued by some professors of like electoral law that what he is doing is flagrantly
you might
illegal.
say it's a prosecutor in Miracle on 34th Street moment, and that like some people are suggesting.
Once you have a PAC, you can just basically do anything. There's no laws. But I have no idea if this is legal or not. I'm just wondering, why aren't we starting up a racket here? Get people registered to vote. Get $46 or $47 or whatever it is. This is you could easily you could make a lot of money for cheap. You could steal Elon's money.
Unless you have an orb.
Get out the vote for like for Jill Stein.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just registering to vote. It doesn't tell you who to vote for. So
that is also illegal, to pay people to register to vote. That's an illegal thing. But then the ambiguity is he paying to register people to vote? Because it's actually just a petition that pledges that they'll register to vote. It's similar. It's murky enough that it's definitely what's the word, justiciable. What he's doing is at least justiciable.
This is my real question. Is anyone actually getting paid?
Yeah, he handed one guy a like $1 million novelty check.
Because that's going to be the real question is that, okay, he said he'd pay you however many dollars to register to vote, but then what if he doesn't pay you?
If you register to vote, you get entered into a lottery, and then one person a day wins the lottery, basically. And you have to register to vote in a swing state, which again is like, if you were a judge looking at that, you wouldn't be like, oh, he's doing all of these clever tricks to get around the fact that it looks like he's bribing people to register to vote. But the problem is that's not how the law works. We remember that.
Ooh, I can't get him. He used too many loopholes.
Yeah, but that's not how the law works. That's not how the law works. If a judge is like, no, you're clearly doing that, then that will just go ahead then. You can't like trick the law in that way. I'm reminded of the time that Lawrence Fox was like, I see people are saying that something I've said that seems racist. That is baseless because all allegations of racism, unless they're about racism against white people, are by their very nature baseless. I can now make baseless accusations. You're all pedophiles. And he was sued like a dozen times or whatever. Yeah,
he got like the kind of kill streak, but for losing libel suits, which is really funny.
Having a certified Lawrence Fox in Lewis moment.
You can call in an AC-130 on the fucking libel call.
Yeah.
Get Elon for false advertising. I thought they gave the $47 to everyone.
Yeah. That's neither here nor there, but it very clearly appears that what he has done is come up with this idea himself, consulted his lawyer who quit years ago.
Yeah. Like imagine being Elon Musk Musk's lawyer, right? Like that's a real like Joe Pesci and My Cousin Vinny moment. Like ultimately,
definitely an unpleasant job. I mean, you have a lot of work.
You're going to be taking the first Robovin out of there.
You give him whatever advice you give him, and then he ignores it. Like you would have to be like one of the worst lawyers, and also like desperate for continued employment. To get does Alan Dershowitz represent Elon?
My client is he's an eccentric billionaire, and he has a long-standing love of two things: petitions and lotteries. Now, why should it be illegal for a man of such pecunious means to indulge his love of both of these facets of our great culture in concert with one another, Your Honor?
All I ask the court is it really a crime to run your own lottery?
Your Honor, you weren't even there.
Your Honor, this is a certified Mr. Smith Goes to Washington moment. I'll have you know. This whole damn system is Jack Nicholson and a few good men.
If Dale Winton can run his own lottery, why should Elon Musk not be allowed?
Dale Winton in that accent, a combination that's never occurred.
Dale Winton. So, have you ever seen In It to Win It? On the they broadcast it before the main National Lottery and Thunderball draws. You may be familiar. It is a quiz show for the simple-minded, sir. If it pleases the court, I will show a simple clip now.
That simple country lawyer has been English the whole time. It's just people get thrown off by the accent, but he actually knows what like supermarket sweep
I
was.
was in a coma after a terrible anvil-related accident, and I woke up sounding like this.
No, what this is just a very specific Hertfordshire accent. There's one town in Hertfordshire where they all sound like
Just outside Tring.
That's where they got it from.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Michael Barrymore's My Kind of Music, Your Honor?
I mean, this is the last thing I want to say about Elon before we close the show, is that what he gets for going in so hard for Trump is that we all know that Elon's main interlocutor in every form of his life in business is the government. He wants to sell to the government. He's always getting sued by the government. Government regulators are constantly telling him to do things, and he wants to be put into a position where he gets to be his own counterparty for like every SpaceX transaction or like any time.
Like vertical integration. It's why Trump was trying to give him the like sort of innovation czar job.
Yeah.
That's what I love about the government. They keep suing me. They keep giving me the contracts to help me pay the lawyers to fight the lawsuits.
So my lawyer from that one town in Hertfordshire, and
A different town now.
Of course, he's called. Of course, it's like oh, what are we going to call it? The Department for Government Efficiency. It's Doge. We're calling it the Doge Department. And it's just fucking sucks.
Yeah, because it's run by that old Venetian guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, they have the whole palace and everything. You know, that'll actually be pretty nice. I think they got a couple spaces left open on the mall still, so the National Mall. So they should build, you know, the Doge's palace
Doge
there.
building.
Yeah.
Now remember, voting for Jill Stein for Doge is throwing your vote away. If you want the progress of Venice, you've got to vote blue down the ticket for Doge.
But I mean, you have to choose by lot and then have that chosen number of people randomly reduced down the ticket all the way.
Yeah, I mean that does sound kind of like the American electoral system.
Yeah, that is the Electoral College. Yeah.
I would love to talk more about the Venetian electoral system because it's fascinating in its weirdness. But that might have to be another day. I'm noting we're well over time. So, Roz, I want to thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us today. It was a certified Justin Roczniak in having a nice time in a podcast moment.
Yes, the Morgan Stanley Vibes Index is off the charts, actually. Yeah.
Oh, you were sent here by Morgan Stanley. Down like a mystery shopper.
Also, I want to thank all of you for listening and to remind you that a couple of things. Number one, do you have a torso? Yes. Pre-orders for shirts are still
Presumably.
on. Yes.
God, I hope you do. If you don't, do not let us know. Don't write in.
Yes. If you have a torso that you would like covered, we are taking pre-orders for shirts now. There are two. I think the last time we promoted this was on the Patreon feed. So Patreon subscribers, sorry you're hearing this again. Free subscribers, consider being a patron. You'd hear about it earlier.
And then again.
And then again, and twice, then again. And probably you will a couple more times.
Yeah.
There are two shirts. One is an Avignon Popes shirt. It's like a NFL.
It's really fucking
it's
good.
so fun.
Yeah.
We had created a crest. We had someone create a crest for the Avignon Popes, put it on the side of an NFL helmet, and then made a very realistic looking team that does not contain any reference to the NFL, but it looks like the kind of thing they would do.
We like to create items of clothing that will make people do a double take when they look at you.
Yes.
And this is definitely one of those.
Yeah, this is one of the shirts that will have people look at you. Would you like to have people look at you and say, oh, what?
It's a great thing. It's a great thing to wear on a date. Like your date can ask you, where's the shirt from? And you can explain everything about the shirt and the origins of it. And they'll think that it's really good and cool.
It'll
and then you save a lot of time because you don't have to go on a second date with that person.
Yeah, because they'll be so in love with you in the first one that you'll be married. And then you'll be inviting us to your wedding.
Yeah.
Yes.
It'll be a certified Billy Crystal and When Harry Met Sally moment. So the other shirt is, of course, another one that will make people look at you and go, what?
That's the brand. That's the brand position.
It is a Venice Banished to the Lagoon shirt. My favorite feature of it is it features the actual flag of Venice, but where their flag has some Latin text in the year of their foundation, we've written Trash Future Podcast on the book that the Lion of St. Mark is holding.
It's glorious.
It makes me giggle every time I look at it. So I'm hoping that at our live show...
which I'm trying to get on sale. But it's going to be on the 24th of November. It may be on... it probably won't be on sale by the time you hear this. Our lead times are so short now.
Save the date.
Save the date. Save the date.
You will probably not get a shirt by then.
Weirdly over-enunciated.
But
save the date.
If you have ordered a shirt, if you've ordered a shirt by then you can say, hey, next live show, I'll have the Avignon Pope's shirt. And I'm
You won't have a shirt by then. You're going to be having a Gerard Butler in 300 moment. You're going to be wearing little more than a loincloth and a cape to the Trash Future live show.
Just a bunch of our fans showing up shirtless to a live show in November. Brutal.
Yeah,
frostbite casualties.
All oiled up, extremely buff. Actually, that's not terrible.
Guys like naked torsos sat next to each other with like podcast written across their chest.
Okay.
You're going to be standing up and like waving a Trash Future scarf.
All right. Here's official request. At our next live show, I want more live sports style silliness.
Yeah.
I want that kind of
Bring
thing.
a sign.
You have
Bring a
6
sign.
friends
Yeah.
who are willing to bare torso.
If you have a foam finger that says podcast on it, I want you to wear it. I want to see all kinds of live sports silliness at our next podcast, please. Okay, all right. The Patreon, you already know about it. I mentioned it earlier when I said about the shirts. Milo, you're going up and down the country. You've been sent to a bunch. Yeah. You've been sent to a bunch of cities. I'm frankly surprised to see you doing.
Glasgow this week, Newcastle this week, Edinburgh this week, Dundee. Dundee's selling weirdly well. I didn't know we had so many fans in Dundee, but it's outperforming every other one of the shows, which is not what I expected. Tickets available for all of those. Please do jump in, and also everywhere else in the country in November and December.
Everywhere else in the country.
Pretty much.
That town
Most
in Hertfordshire,
major areas.
That town in Hertfordshire where the lawyer comes from.
Why don't you come and see Milo Edwards sentimental? Milo Edwards. His tour support is the ghost of Dale Winton.
Okay, all right.
Expect a very special announcement from Well, There's Your Problem at the end of the week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep your ears to the problems,
Yes,
everybody.
keep
subscribe to the YouTube channel and like watch the socials.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
Keep watching the skies.
All right. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks again, Justin. And we'll see you in a few days in the bonus. Bye.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Auf Wiedersehen.